Hello everyone. Today we're going to take a look at a pretty unique piece of web equipment. Yes, that's right, it's not British. It is actually a part of the Danish M1956 web equipment set. Now it's a very unique set of web equipment in the fact that it actually uses British 1937 pattern components and it uses also American style components as well. So without any further ado, we'll go and take a look at this item. So what we have here is actually a part of the Danish M1956 pattern web equipment. Now, probably from what you're looking at, this does not look Danish. This looks like it's part of 1944 pattern, but it is Danish. So after World War II, the Danish army ultimately decides to rearm themselves with much more modern weaponry, as previously they had Krag Jorgensen rifles, ranging from long rifles to carbines. So of course after the war, the Danish army rearmed themselves with M1 Garands, so they ultimately get those. And a new set of web equipment was adopted, and it mainly took a lot of heavy influence from 1937 pattern and the M19 and the US M1936 pattern equipment. And this is one of the items. So this is more or less so it's a water bottle cover taken off British, or not really British, but an American design, as it looks like it would fit a US water bottle or canteen. Of course, it has the lifted dot fasteners. Of course, one has pull. Of course, they both have pull. On the back, we have 1-inch straps with 1-inch brass tips, very similar to 1937 pattern. So which then we have these loops, and then we have these rings at the bottom here. Of course, you've got the same 1-inch strap, loop, and a ring at the bottom. Of course, you've got the standard 1-inch buckles at the top. We do have a marking underneath. Of course, we have ID, and then we have possibly somewhere in Denmark, or it's either a Danish stamp. Now the stamp's underneath the flap. As you can see, there's no stamps here, but however, underneath this one, we have a stamp of Miko, so the Mills Equipment Company, and then the stamp is either 1949 or 1946, but it looks more, as you're looking underneath the camera, if the thing will focus, it looks more like 46 from the top. So it's Miko 1946, so this was produced well before the M1956. And more or less the carrier follows the 1944 pattern. So it has a big area for a water bottle, and in the back, I believe this is what was in the 44. I do not have a 44 pattern water bottle carrier. And in the back would be for sterilizing tablets, which is rather ingenious of the actual whole design. Now what I shall do is actually compare this to a 1937 pattern water bottle and its carrier. So on the right you have the Danish M1956. I'm just going to call it M1956, and on the right, on the left, sorry, you have 1937 pattern. And as you can see, the height of the bottles, or the height of the carrier really does match a 1937 pattern water bottle, or sorry, the Mark 6 or 7 water bottle. But the interesting part is, unlike 1937, this one's of course a skeleton design, done up with a press stud on the top. This one's more taken off, like I said, American practice. And of course, so unlike 1937, you have two 1-inch buckles on the side here. And of course on the back, you have two 1-inch buckles on the back. So unless you were to use these straps to make some sort of belt loop like that, which that would be rather interesting to see. Now what I shall do is actually try and see if a US canteen and a British water bottle will fit in this one. So first of all, we're going to fit a I'm just going to call a 1937 pattern water bottle in here. It's got a gap for it, so it definitely would fit. So of course, it would tuck down into there. Let's see if the snap fasteners will do. Something tells me that it will not. I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like it. Unless if you really were to stretch out the webbing, that is as tight as it's going to go. So it will not take 1937. What about a good old US canteen? Fits pretty snug. See about it closing. It does close. But of course this one's missing the cup, so perhaps maybe a cup would fit in there maybe. But other than that, a US canteen will fit inside of the Danish M1956 pattern web equipment, or the water bottle carrier, sorry. Now then, there's ultimately one more water bottle carrier that I actually want to compare it to, so if I actually move this out the way, let's bring in the 1940 pattern cavalry water bottle carrier. And as you can see, it's kind of similar in design, but unlike the 1940 pattern, this one's a full sleeve. This one is a short sleeved, basically, so there's nothing on the bottom, but however there's stuff poking out on the top. But however, it does have the two 1-inch buckles on the back, very similar to this one, but of course, unlike the M1956, it's done up with a press stud on the cavalry one. So there's that comparison. Now then, I hope you've enjoyed this video about the Danish M1956 water bottle carrier. It is something I don't typically delve into. It's basically a 1937 pattern, but made for the Danish army after World War II. If you want to research more about this equipment, feel free. Sometimes the Danish M1956 is just referred to as M56. It's rather unique as it has basic pouches, but they're done up with lift dot fasteners, which is rather interesting as lift dot fasteners were not a part of 1937, well, not a part of 1937 pattern until, well, lift dot fasteners were really used on 1944 pattern. As on 1937, it was either all press studs or quick release. So if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, then hit that subscribe button, and of course comment down below. Let me know what else you want to see, and thanks for watching.